Hello, Sagittarius. Welcome to Dove and Serpent Tarot. My name is Paul. If Sagittarius is your sun, moon, or rising sign, this is your tarot reading. Please hit the like button, leave a comment. Consider subscribing to the channel, especially if this reading resonates with you. It's totally free, doesn't cost you anything. If there is anything you would like me to pray over, or meditate upon, or send positive energy toward, please let me know. Now, this is going to be a general reading, so try to be open and receptive to whatever may come through during our time together. I am merely the messenger, and I ask you to connect directly with each of these cards and use your own intuition to take you beyond the details that I might provide. And remember, Sagittarius, that the most important part of any tarot reading is you. And we begin with the Eon card, also called the Judgment card, Rebirth, Reawakening, Baptism by Fire, sometimes a Trial by Fire, right? So I wonder if if you're right in the middle of something that is taking every ounce of effort that you have, right? But this is a doorway, right? This is the opening up of your future, the opening up of a wormhole to a different dimension, a different universe, a different timeline. So whatever you're working on right now, whatever phase of life you're in, I feel like the process that you're undergoing is really changing everything. It's going from small to very, very large, from microcosm to macrocosm, right? From kind of earth stuff to cosmic stuff. Yeah. Well, let's put this into some context. Let's see what's going on here. Oh, we've got the hand. Not only do we have trial by fire, we have trial by water too. It's not so much what you can push yourself through, but also what you can endure. So there's an active and a passive side to this. There's an external and an internal side to things. You're doing a lot of activity in the external world. I think you're probably getting rid of a lot of stuff from your life, maybe literally like kind of a spring cleaning kind of vibe, So a lot of external work and cleansing and purging, but then also internal stuff, spiritual stuff, emotional. Let's see what else we have. Ooh, the Lovers card. The blending of two paths into one path, right? External, internal, practical perhaps, and then a little bit more subtle or spiritual. This is a cool combination, because this is like you're trying to live a life that is very earthly and practical and focused on material success and prosperity and well-being. But then equally important is the internal, spiritual, emotional stuff, right? So it feels like you're marrying these two paths together. That's really, really interesting energy. Let's see what else we've got. So we've got the Lovers card. We've got the Tower. That makes sense. We've got the Universe. Now we got a lot of major arcana. Is this going to happen again? Oh my gosh. I can't. Again, I mean, this was a couple cycles ago. We had a reading that was all major arcana. And then here it is again. So it's like we're getting another snapshot of kind of where you are in this really life-changing spiritual process. Of course, I bet you it's going to be all major arcana. If it's all major arcana, I'm going to eat my hat. Two more to go. Hierophant. It's interesting now, because if you look over here, we have the Justice or Adjustment card. This is about balance, about blending two paths together, essentially. And we have one which is like the internal wisdom and then the external wisdom. So this is your own inner spiritual guide. And then this is, the Hierophant kind of represents those things outside of us that we look to for guidance, for wisdom, for instruction, right? Last card is all major arcana. I quit. I quit after this. Thankfully, I'm not wearing a hat. I don't have to literally eat my hat. This is outrageous. I've never seen this before. I'm almost nervous to select the mystery card, but let's do that now. Let's get that out of the way. My God, I don't know that this has happened in any tarot reading that I've ever had. I've never seen this in any tarot reading, where there is all major arcana energy. And we're going to look around and see what the elemental kind of balance is here. But the mystery card's going to go here. Tiny Bob Ross right on top. Happy little Bob. Bob is the real magician. All right, now that card, it's going to tie everything together at the end of the reading. We're not going to look at it until the end, right? If you have a prediction for that card, you have a hunch, you feel like you know what it is, put it down in the comments. All right, let's do it together. Let's make it a group exercise. I feel like you're really in this kind of spiritual zone right now. Anything you touch is going to be phenomenal, right? Now's the time to start doing as much as you can. Really get involved with stuff. If you have ideas, go for it. If you have feelings towards someone or something, do it, right? Don't hesitate. There's no small cards here. Everything in your life right now is super huge, like big deal, life-changing stuff. Just from simple things like what you're going to have for dinner. It's like a life-changing event, spiritual event, right? And this is kind of the glow that we all kind of walk around with sometimes. When we're in that kind of zone, it's where everything looks a little bit shinier. The world looks a little bit more beautiful than usual. You're connecting with people a little bit easier than usual. Maybe a lot easier than usual, right? Things might be a little bit more difficult than usual too, because we do have some challenging cards. You know, spiritual energy, this kind of activation, maybe this is a spiritual awakening, ascension, maybe this is a Kundalini experience. It's not easy. It's not meant to be just smooth sailing, easy ride kind of stuff. It's meant to be challenging. It's meant to find where your weak spots are and challenge those so that you can evolve in this kind of holistic way. And we see the world or universe card right up here at the top. So that is kind of the idea here, that we're growing equally. We're growing in balance. The things that are weak in us are becoming stronger. The things that are maybe too exaggerated, we're dialing back, right? This is phenomenal. We've never had this before. Let's take a look around the room here. Obviously, all major arcana energy. Probably the mystery card too. We'll find out in a little bit. We've got fire, water here. And then we've got the idea of union, right? And then we've got some fire. We've got some earth kind of energies here. And this really is air. It's fire, water, and air. And if you know anything about the Hermetic elements, the air is really what keeps the fire and the water in balance. And so this really is a special card because it's telling me that you're not going to any extreme. You're not getting lost in this. You know, sometimes spiritual experience and activation and things like that can lead to extreme behavior or an imbalanced psyche or an imbalanced life. I feel like you're very much focused on the balance. Right? I mean, literally, because we've got the world or universe card, which is all about balance, things growing equally in proportion. We've got the idea of uniting the two sides of things, right? The only thing we're really missing is the Sagittarius power card. But I feel like this is what's inside of that power card. So if the mystery card is the temperance card, that'll confirm that what we're looking at is really inside the temperance card. Because we do have a lot of the idea of balance here. Right? Even with the justice or adjustment card, balancing between internal and external, wisdom, knowledge, skill, learning, training, communication, right? Helping ourselves with the magician, and then getting help from others. Or we can even look at it differently. We can think of the magician as being the one on stage, but there's so much that goes on behind the scenes. The magician is not just like a one-person show, right? The magician has a lot of other people, dozens, hundreds of people that are helping behind the scenes. And then, so the magician might be us accepting help from others, and then the Hierophant might be you providing help to others. Yeah? However you want to look at it, we're in balance, right? Things are equal. So let's see, we've got fire. We've got a little bit of water here. We've got, we could call this some air. This is some air. The Mercury, kind of an air style energy. And of course we have our earth energies now with the universe, the Hierophant, the Hermit, and of course the Devil card. Right, so we've got a lot of fire, a lot of earth. It's really balanced, honestly, you know. Even in the kind of spiritual realm, we see a good mixture of things. And there's balance there's balance everywhere we look. And I think that's really the theme today, is the idea of balance. Yeah. Because we have this idea of kind of tearing down old structures. We have the Eon Judgment card, the Trial by Fire, getting rid of things, tearing things down, working through things, leaving things behind. And then, of course, we have the Hermit and the Hanged Man that are more introspective, more yielding, more passive, and focused on the internal things of what we can perhaps what we can build up within ourselves. And then we have these, these cards are in balance. These two are really what's holding everything together over here. So this is really good. I'm trying to figure out where to even begin. I feel like this is just a reading that kind of needs to be taken in all at once, But we can focus on one card at a time. The Eon, Judgment, Rebirth, Reawakening card, Trial by Fire, Baptism by Fire. There are some challenging things happening in your life right now. These cards aren't saying that everything is easy for you. Yeah. So there are still challenges, and I think your life is really leveling up. I think things are getting better and better and better. But, more money, more problems, right? So it's kind of... The more we evolve, the more we grow and mature in our spiritual energy, the more we recognize the challenges, and the more the challenges kind of take a different form. Okay? So I think we're letting go of a lot of attachment to issues, worries, concerns, fears that no longer seem to apply to us. Yeah. Just things and maybe there's a reason why the Death card isn't here right now. Because maybe that's like a literal kind of thing where we're just not afraid of the universe anymore. We're not afraid of death. We're not afraid of the natural processes of life. Because you know the bigger picture. You know that life and death is another doorway between, states of being, right? Or being and non-being, or however you want to look at it. There's really nothing to fear about it. It's just a transition. Yeah. So I feel like you're letting go of a lot of fear. You're letting go of a lot of resentment in your life. I think that you've had a lot of challenges, particularly with family. Yeah. And I think someone in your family when you were growing up really had a temper. I don't know if it was mom, dad, maybe it was you, maybe it's a sibling. But I feel like with the Tower in the back here, there was somebody that was known for their anger or their temper. I don't feel that it was an easy time for you growing up. I even wonder if something happened when you were younger where somebody really let you down or betrayed you, or there was a big lie or something, some sort of dishonesty that really affected you. And I feel like that kind of was something that took some time to work through. I don't know if somebody maybe left or, whatever that was. I feel like it's still, you're still in the process of kind of working through that and getting rid of those energies, the attachment to those energies. Now, those experiences will always be a part of you. Okay, that's part of what we see on the path. Well, we see that all over the place too, because that's part of the world. That's part of your existence, right? It's one fact. It's one impression on the universe. It exists, and it's never going to not exist. We can't undo the past, but we can change our relationship with it, and that's the Mercury energy. The Mercury energy is basically our brain, right? Our nervous system, the neurons, spinal cord, and everything. It's how we adapt to the information that's in us, the impressions, the data that we receive, like the physical packets of information. It's how we utilize those. We can't send the data back, right? We can't undo the past, but we have a little bit of a say in how we relate to that experience, how we relate to the information, and how we deal with it, how we adapt. Yeah. And so this card is really saying that you're in control of your behavior to such a degree that you're probably even, and maybe not intentionally, maybe you don't put it in these kinds of terms, but you're breaking old habits and you're learning new habits because we're building new pathways in our brain, in our soul, in our mind. We're reinforcing certain perceptions, certain impressions that we want to continue, practicing, because it's helping us evolve our life in the direction that we want. And we do see a lot of evolution here. We have the devil energy at the top and the world at the top here. You're climbing atop of the world mountain, right? This is the mountain of the world. This is, the Mount Olympus for you. And you're climbing up to the very, very top. I think you are on this kind of spiritual path of ascension, of awakening, of this Kundalini experience, whatever you want to call it, however it is manifesting for you particularly. But that involves a lot of, I think, shedding old beliefs, shedding old habits and old patterns and stuff as we're going through this doorway, this transition, which may be quite a lengthy process too, right? I do think that you had in the relatively recent past a very significant spiritual breakthrough. Maybe it was in meditation, maybe it was just while you were walking, maybe it was during some dance or some ritual or some kind of maybe chanting or some kind of some sort of an intentional thing that you were doing. It was a physical activity, and I think there was this breakthrough, and that maybe set off a lot of what we've been seeing in your energy, a lot of this major arcana energy. Then, of course, the Hanged Man. This is the passive side of things. So we've got the Eon card, which is you taking positive steps, doing things, getting rid of stuff, taking on new stuff, building new stuff, starting new habits, getting rid of old habits, breaking old patterns and cycles, and really putting effort into and intention into your activities. This is kind of the flip side of that, where you then have to allow all of those energies to kind of coalesce and seep in, and you have to digest the experiences. Right? So this is kind of like you're doing things, you're making things happen, and now you're letting things happen. Right? You're letting yourself kind of be part of that and letting all of this energy kind of crystallize around you. Yeah. And it really is an alchemical process. We've got the Lover's card here. Now, this isn't necessarily a romantic thing. I mean, it could be. We could be talking romance for some of you. But I feel like this is really the commitment that you have to your spiritual path. And we don't even have to use the word spiritual if you don't want. It's sometimes we overuse the word spiritual path. It kind of gets cringy after a while, right? This is a life path. Your spiritual practice, right? Your prayers, your religion, your mystical, whatever, that's only a part of your life. Right? This is a life reading. And I think those physical spiritual practices are one component of a larger picture for you. Okay? Well, it could be that's a very large part. It could be that your life is focused around your spirituality, your religion, and that sort of thing. But it doesn't have to be. When I say, your spiritual activity or your spirituality, it's something that permeates everything. The most mundane things, tying your shoes, shopping at the grocery store. All of these things seem very basic and very mundane, but they are spiritual experiences, right? You are that spirit having this human experience, right? And I think you're looking at things that way. You're looking at literally every waking moment and even every sleeping moment as an opportunity to unite with whatever this is out here that's outside of my own soul, right? Call it reality, call it matter, call it energy, call it, God, goddess, deity, whatever it is that's outside of us. Every moment is an opportunity to really connect with that. So I feel like you're much more present in your life right now. Washing dishes, it's a spiritual experience, right? Isn't it magic when you feel the water on your skin and the fact that we experience that and what that sensation actually feels like? Maybe the water's getting a little cold. Maybe it's getting a little hot. Maybe it's just right. Maybe it's the exact same temperature as your skin and you can barely feel it. It doesn't feel like a change in temperature. It's really fascinating. Anyway, And I think that you're immersed in your life more than you ever have been. Yeah. And with this card also is talking about relationships, of course, family relationships, strengthening and solidifying intimate relationships, whether with family, friends, lovers, whatever it might be, coworkers even. I think you're starting to really express your desire to focus and strengthen your close, intimate relationships, friends, family, that sort of thing, lovers too, all of it. Yeah. I think this is down beneath the surface because it's something that you feel like this is taking place in you, and it's starting, I think, to bubble up into your life, through your activities, through what you're doing and through the things that you're not doing, right? That's how we're starting to express this real need for union. This is the choice to unite, and this ultimately is the union of our souls with the universal energy, universal mind, God, goddess, deity, whatever you want to call it. But we don't have to be so hocus pocus here. We don't have to be so mystical. There's very practical energy here. You're changing your life. Something happened recently to you that was a big, huge moment. And it set you off on this new path where we are intentionally doing more of certain things and intentionally doing less of other things, right? And then we're stepping back and letting things settle, letting our food digest, and then we're getting back to it. Yeah. World or universe card. This is the recognition that you need to kind of grow your life in proportion. Yeah. And it's all about balance, balancing these time spent focused on others with the time spent focused on yourself. Yeah. Trying to discover what our weaknesses are. Where are the cracks in our armor? We repair those. The Eon card is you putting the glue on the crack, and then the Hanged Man is letting the glue dry. Yeah. So that we can be a whole, complete, like a perfect circle of a being, and not like this card's kind of an egg shape. I think there is the recognition that our life hasn't always been in balance. So we're trying to kind of rebalance things. We're putting probably more focus on our physical existence, right? Wellness, fitness, our diet and exercise. Did you recently get rid of something that belonged to somebody else? Maybe a family member, maybe that significant other that you're no longer with. I think you've been holding on to something there, and I think you recently got rid of that. And that's kind of the idea here, that we're getting rid of stuff that is not, we don't want that energy in our lives anymore. So a very practical way, I think we are cleaning out things, especially things that have significant, like magical ties to you and very strong emotional attachment to you. We're severing those things, whether it's through a ritual or through burial or burning or something. We are trying to sever that link. So it might be packing up the ex's stuff and sending it back to them in the mail, right? Something along those lines. I also like the universe card because this is showing me that there's a lot of travel coming up for you in your life. There is this idea of you figuring out what your orbit is through this vast, infinite universe. Where's your path taking you? So we ask these questions, and really the universe card's it's a card about questions. Where are we? Who are we? What are we? Why are we here? Who made us? Where are we going, and why? It's a lot of questions. And I think that part of this work is us answering those questions. Who am I? What am I all about? What am I good at? What am I supposed to do? And where am I supposed to go? Well, the only way to really figure that out is to kind of take the trip, buy the ticket, take the ride. Yeah. So the universe card is about you finding where you fit in, finding your people, finding your place, carving out your own little corner of the universe, your own little kingdom there, for you, your families, for your loved ones. This is really about kind of solidifying things, making something that is as permanent as it could be, setting roots down somewhere. Establishing something that's going to be a fixture, like a business or family, just kind of your own legacy, even your own like reputation, your own business, making a name for yourself. I don't know exactly what you're doing, but you're Sagittarius. You've got this natural creative ability. Sometimes it just needs a little bit of focus. Yeah. We've got the Hermit energy here as well. A lot of introspection taking place for you in the future too. I feel like you are kind of, you're moving into this phase where you're kind of withdrawing from some of your social interactions a little bit. You're trying to strengthen those quality, intimate bonds, but you're not like, it's more about the quality than the quantity, right? So I think you're learning how to economize your time. Yeah, the Hermit has to make that tough decision. Well, do I go out tonight or do I stay home and finish that project that I need to finish? And I'd rather go outside. I'd rather go out and play, right? Go out on a Friday night or whatever. But sometimes we have to say, no, I'm just gonna focus on doing this work. Focus on whatever this project is, whatever your work, your business. I don't know what you're building, but I feel as if you've maybe already been through the stage of kind of clearing the ground, preparing the soil, and now it's really time to kind of start the next phase of things, the phase of building. Yeah, the phase of building. And I think before that, we really have to kind of pause and harmonize and make sure that everything is in place. And I think that's really some work for the Hermit to do. The Hermit is just kind of like, I don't need the distractions. I don't want a lot of stuff going on. I kind of need a little bit of peace and quiet. I need to concentrate. I need to find my inner light so that I can see the next step in front of me. Yeah. And that doesn't sound as fun as going out on a Friday night, but it's a necessary part of the work. Now, again, I think you're strengthening those family bonds, the intimate bonds, the quality people in your life. You're holding on to those people, and part of that is you taking time to concentrate, find your inner light, and illuminate the next step for yourself. All right. Now let's go the path of the Serpent. And as I do this, I'd like to ask for your subscription. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. It's totally free, doesn't cost you anything. And it really does help out the channel, and I really do appreciate that. All right. So we've got the Justice or Adjustment card here. Now, I'm wondering, I'm getting a strong indication that there's something to do with the breathing. Does someone in your family have breathing issues, or did somebody pass due to like a lung or a breathing issue? I feel like that is, I feel like that's a validation of some of this energy, and I think it really is kind of meant to show that you are very connected with the spirit realm right now. And I know we're back to all this hocus pocus, mystical, spiritual stuff, but I really do feel as if you've got a big team. You've got a big team around you, and the Justice or Adjustment card is kind of like this is kind of us like accepting our team. Everybody's signed their non-disclosure agreements. Everybody's like signed the contracts and stuff, and now we're ready to go. The dream team has been assembled. This card could be talking to about you literally like forming partnerships, networking, right? Whatever the life is that you're trying to build, I think forming connections is a big part of it. And maybe that is the next step that the Hermit has to the Hermit might have to change clothes, right? Get ready to go out, become the magician in order to make these connections and to network and to kind of set things up, get the ball rolling. This is like, you've got a lot of administrative stuff that you need to do now. Yeah. Also, there's a strong connection with waterfalls. I don't know, it seems like there's a mountainous area associated with you, with like water, like cascading water, maybe a lagoon or something. I don't know if this is like a spiritual retreat that you've been on, if this is something about a vacation that you've taken, or if it's just kind of a magical place that you like to go. But I'm getting that kind of, it's still water, but with running water. You know, it seems like a very peaceful place, very kind of meditative place. If that is a real place or an internal landscape, go there if you can. Go there if you can. It's a very powerful place for you. And it will help you to do the work of this hermit and, concentrate and find that inner light and take that next step. Yeah. And I think the next step really is about this kind of networking. Now, the Justice card, to me, this is also like the judge, Justice tries to be unbiased, right? Tries to just say, hey, there's a standard here, and everything that comes my way, I've got to judge it against this standard. And this standard really is your life path, your goal, your will, what it is that you believe in, what your core principles and values are, what you really are trying to achieve. So if you know your will, and I think this is the card that is certain that they do, then everything that comes your way, every relationship, every offer, every doorway, I feel like you're able to weigh it against this will, against this core value. And then it should be relatively easy to say, no, thank you. It's very matter of fact. It's almost very formal. Something comes your way, an opportunity, a person, someone invites you somewhere even, and you just think, no, it's better that that doesn't really, the weight here it's off. What you're doing is so important to you, your life, your family, your friends. Your purpose is significant, and nobody really knows the details except for you. But I think in a general way, it is meant to alleviate suffering for yourself and for others, right? To improve the quality of life for yourself and for others. As a general purpose, I think we can all safely say that. And so whatever those specifics are for you, we're judging everything in our life against that standard. And then we have to have the power to say yes and no to things. And to be firm, right? Once I hit the gavel, that's it. Of course you can change your mind, but this is the idea that we're not letting things pressure us. We're not succumbing to the peer pressure. We're not letting our own hearts and minds lead us into temptation, lead us away from our purpose and our true will and our goals here. Yeah. And I think all of this energy, all of these processes that we're talking about, I think are coming fairly naturally to you. There is difficulty here, but you're so connected right now. There are no small cards here. It's almost as if Spirit is working through you, and it's kind of like when a musician is really in the zone, playing music with a band or something, and it's almost like they're not even thinking about it. They're not even really present, but they are. They're in this mystical state. And it's almost as if Spirit's just working through them. The music's just working through them, and they're not even the ones, doing whatever instrument it is. I don't know if you play an instrument. If you do, I think part of your hermit work is to do that, right? Even if you're just by yourself or with a couple of friends, play your music, play your instrument. Even if you haven't taken the clarinet out of the closet in years, do it. Or the drums, or the guitar, or the flute, I don't know. The didgeridoo even, whatever it might be, do it. It's very meditative right now. And even if you're terrible at it, just do it, okay? Trust me on that one. We've got the Magician energy coming next. I'm getting a B name here. I don't know if your name starts with a B or if somebody close to you. A B and an A. So I don't know if that's first name, last name, if it's the name of a business or the name of a location, perhaps. But I feel like those initials are they're attached to you in some way. Okay. Magician energy, we talked about that. This reading's getting really long, by the way. I apologize for that. The Mercury energy we've talked about, this is your ability to adapt to the impressions coming in. Also the impressions from the past. So the things that we've let go of, right? We've just kind of ritually gotten rid of, ceremonially cut ties with things and cleansed that energy, purged those things from our lives that were holding us back. We still have those memories. Those impressions are still alive in us. So we have to understand how we can at least not let them hinder us. If we can turn them into strengths, then even better. But at least they're not going to be weaknesses anymore. This is the card that really can figure out how to do anything with any. This is the MacGyver card. You know who MacGyver is? I wonder if you're kind of like that too. If you kind of, you know how to take whatever is around you and you can build whatever you want out of it. I kind of feel like you've got that sort of like intuitive, practical wisdom, and maybe when you were a kid or like a young adult, that's something that you would do a lot, is just like, it's kind of like, you ever watch Chopped on the Food Network? I love that show. It's kind of just taking whatever's around you and seeing if you can create like the coolest gadget or the coolest piece of art or just whatever you can create just with the stuff that's like 3 feet around you. Yeah. I feel like that's a really good skill to have, and I feel like that allows you to adapt to the constantly changing circumstances. Also, there's a connection with Texas for you. I don't know what the connection to Texas is, if you've been there, if you're going there, if somebody you know is from there. There's something with Texas and your energy, right? The magician here is also the one that has accepted help, right? That knows how to, and it's part of this networking that we talked about, knowing how to kind of organize people behind you, everybody behind the scenes of your life. You know how to coordinate people. You got to get the bank people. You got to get the finance, the lighting people. You got to get the writers and the lighting people. You've got to get, the contractors, the electrician. You've got to get the plumbers. Everybody has to be coordinated. Everybody's got to be organized at the right time so this can come together and this thing can be built on this particular day. It seems crazy to me, right? And I feel that way anytime I think about like television or, motion picture production. I think when I like to watch the credits roll. I don't know why. I always look for names and stuff and funny like synchronicities and things in the credits. And it always fascinates me that there are hundreds of people involved in making this 2-hour movie, or hour and a half most of the time, right? I feel like movies are getting shorter. Have you noticed that? I think it's our attention span. And I'm fascinated by how many people have to coordinate. You need the special effects team. You got to outsource certain things. You've got to have craft services, wardrobe, like makeup, light, all these things. And everything has to be coordinated so that this motion picture can happen, so that this actor can go and make this movie, right? And I kind of feel like that's your life right now. I feel like it's a very complex orchestra of energies around you. Yeah. But this is the idea that you're accepting help, you're coordinating people, and you're trusting people to do their job. Yeah. We're going to try to move quickly here. We've got the Hierophant next. And this is the difficult thing for you, I think, is the accepting of help. Because I feel like you're usually the one that's assisting others or doing things for others or providing things for others or being of service to others, right? The Hierophant. So the Hierophant, I think, is reminding us that we've got to balance that out. We've got the balance, right? You've got to help others. You have to be of service, but you also have to let people be of service to you. And the Hierophant is also a weird kind of, a weird kind of gatekeeper almost, where it's just, it's like we sometimes feel limited by the capabilities of others, of other things. You ever you're using the computer, you're using your phone. How about that? You're using your phone and you're saying, God, I just wish it could do what I need it to do. But we're limited by that kind of like technology, by the state of the art. We're limited by the systems around us, the infrastructure that we're in, right? And so it's kind of like there's nothing we can really do about it except maybe wait for the next version of the phone to come out. I don't know if you're Android or Apple or whatever. But the Google phone's really nice, Pixel. You can either just wait, right? Wait for the gatekeeper to say, okay, now you can connect two Bluetooth devices at the same time, whatever. Or you can figure out how to do it yourself. I remember 15 years ago with the very first Android phones, and I was trying to figure out how to get all my files set up. I wanted it to connect to my car, but my car wasn't Bluetooth, right? I had to get one of those little radio adapters. And so my car was just a bunch of wires running everywhere, and trying to learn how to get this device to do what I needed it to do. You know, with my files and my podcasts and all this stuff that just, random things. But the technology wasn't there. It wasn't quite ready to do those things yet. You can improvise, which is this with the magician card. You can improvise, and then you can also try to push the development of things. You can try to innovate. You can try to kind of advance the technology around us so that the world can kind of have the infrastructure so you can do what you need to do. Does that make sense? I hope that analogy isn't too confusing. But I feel like you are doing something of tremendous value. We've got the Devil card to finish the Path of the Serpent. I'm really sorry this is getting so long. There is a connection with farmland for you, and I don't know if it's a ranch. Maybe it's the Texas thing. I see like horses and animals and like the kind of horse corral or whatever. I don't know if it's rodeo stuff or I don't know what it is. Connection with that kind of farmland, horses, Texas ranch kind of deal. Maybe you work on that Yellowstone show. I don't know. You got to tell me when that next season comes out. But whatever it is, I feel like you are nonstop. I feel like you've got this kind of stamina and this endurance. You're climbing up the world mountain. You're climbing up Mount Olympus. It's no easy task. No mere mortal can do it, right? So you've got something extraordinary that you're doing right now, and I think you are working your way to the very, very top of this, and I think the gods and goddesses are going to welcome you with open arms as one of their own. Let's look at the mystery card, okay? I'm sure you are all getting tired of hearing my voice right now. Every day I come into the studio and I think, I'm going to make them short today. Some people like the shorter readings. I'm going to try to do everyone a favor and make it short, but here now we are. This is the longest reading I've had in months. It's hard not to really get excited, though, when we've got all major arcana energies. I'm predicting a major arcana card here, but I don't know. What else do we need? Anything would be helpful to maybe show what your reaction to all of this is. Yeah? If you have a prediction, put it down in the comments. Now's your chance. We're going to look at it. Here we go. Oh, okay. 8 of Cups. This is where your head is at. Walking away from things that no longer serve you. Learning how to walk away from things that maybe once were pleasurable experiences, not so much with this tower energy, I don't think. It's more kind of talking about the hermit, because who's that back there walking away from those cups? None other than our hermit, right? So it's kind of saying, I used to go out on Friday nights. I used to kind of party with my friends. I can't do that anymore. I got stuff I need to do. That was fun. I still want to keep those quality friendships. But at least for right now, there's stuff I have to do internally. These cups aren't spilled. These cups aren't knocked over. In fact, they're stacked quite nicely, right? But we're walking away from those. We're going walkabout. We're going hermit for a time. The other thing I notice about the 8 of Cups is that there's a stack of 5 and a stack of 3. And to me, that's kind of like sorrow, loss, sadness, disappointment. With the 5 and then the 3, we've got abundance, celebration, party, right? So it's kind of like, in some ways, we're walking away from getting too attached to either emotion, pleasure or pain, joy or sorrow. It is what it is. You've got more intense things to focus on. And those kinds of things, they happen, we feel them, but we're not getting attached to them. Does that make sense? We're not getting attached to all the joy. We get kind of led into temptation. We want more and more joy, more and more pleasure. We get attached to that sadness, and we stay in sadness and sorrow, and we cling to it, and we wallow there. We're not doing either of those things. We're staying on our path, which I think is right in the middle of things. And you're accomplishing your goals. You're manifesting your will. And I think I'm quitting tarot after this. Not really. I'm not going to quit. But I don't know where to really go from here. I don't think we'll ever top something like this. We are going to do an extended reading. I don't know why, but we will. You can click on the link up here, or there's a link down in the video description. New readings for Sagittarius every Wednesday and Sunday. Don't miss out on those. But I'm here every day, too. You can just come back, see me again tomorrow. All right. Same time, 6 a.m. Chicago time. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. Totally free. Doesn't cost you anything. And leave a comment for me. Let me know where in the world you're watching from. Yeah, let me know how you're doing. I want you to know that you are the most important part of Dove and Serpent Tarot. I thank you and I love you, and we're all in this together.